Hey guys, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in and watching. I appreciate it. I hope you have an awesome day. And I'm back in Aurora HDR for this video, and I'm working on another shot from Amsterdam. I did a video recently, and I'll put a link there where I did a sunset from Amsterdam. This is another sort of sunset scene from Amsterdam on a different day. And I was wandering around, found some cool stuff, although this is Amsterdam, so like there's all kinds of cool like city scenes, if you will, to shoot. Anyway, so let me just show you the photo. Here we go. Now, again, spots on my lens or on my sensor or whatever that I clean off later in Luminar. You can't do that in Aurora, so I don't even try. So anyway, I'll show you the final, but this is the one of the exposures from the bracket set before editing, and that's my final photo. I went for big color, kind of like bam, in your face. And let me show you the final. There's the final, maybe, after also going to Luminar and removing all the spots. As you can see, I cleaned up the sky quite a bit and that sort of thing. I like the photo. It's super vibrant, super colorful and saturated. You might even call it over the top or clown vomit, which is what I say. But you know what? I don't really care. I kind of like it. So it's fun, right? So let me just show you how I made it. I'll reset these filters and we'll jump into the edit right now. Okay, so this is my base HDR photo after merging 3 exposures. There's the center exposure and there's the merged HDR. I don't really know what happened. As I said in that previous video, back then I used to shoot 7 exposures one stop apart. But the exposures I chose for I had a whole mess of photos of this, so I don't remember. It was 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I screwed something up, but the 3 exposures I'm using are -7, -3.3, and -1. I got no idea. You would think it'd be like -7, -5, -3, or like -5, -3, I don't know. I'm not sure how I picked these. I'm also not sure why 2 of them are 0.0 and 1 is a 0.3. I obviously took a couple of bracket sets of this scene and slightly adjusted the exposure, but for whatever reason, I chose those 3. Here's my base HDR. So the first thing I did is I went into HDR Basic, gave it a little tint bump, and also a little contrast and smart tone. So went from that to that, gave it a little bit more life. This is really, here's what I do. I pull it in there, and some photos you just know are really gonna just be kind of badass, right? You just see the photo, and you're like, this is gonna look great. I can't even screw it up. But then you got others, like I would classify this one as one of the others, where you get it, and you've got a base photo like that, in the bracket set, and you're like, it's not bad. I mean, it's not amazing, but can I make it better? Or can I make it more interesting? Or can I do something different? And that's where I kind of go sometimes. By the way, you probably also can tell that I did apply a crop. I did a 16:9 crop, and I had to straighten it as well. So I did that prior to doing all these edits. So the next thing I did after the HDR Basic was jump into color, and that hit it big, as you can tell. I did some saturation, some vibrance, and color contrast. So went from that to that, and I gotta be honest, like at that point, that's after those sliders, that's where I look at it and say, I got a photo here. I got a photo that I think I'm gonna like, because I like my color, that's a given. So at that point, I was pretty happy, and then I was kind of bebopping along, feeling kind of, a little skip in my step, if you will. HDR Enhanced gave it a little clarity and smart structure. I went back to Lut Mapping. God, it's like I don't know what it is. I have a mental thing. Like I don't want to, for some reason, I don't feel like I want to like LUTs, but I'm getting to like them a little bit. The more I kind of fart around with them and use them, they do some cool color things. In this case, I used Inca, and it went to that. So not amazing, but I liked it. So I was there, and I went to that. So it kind of darkened it up a little bit, changed the light, which I liked. And I'm at 86, so not super intense. Next up was Image Radiance. Again, something I do on a lot of HDRs, where I just kind of give it a little bit more shadow, a little bit more mystery, because you can easily light up the whole scene with most HDRs, right? And I like to pull that back a little bit. I want to leave the viewer kind of wanting a little bit, or thinking, and this isn't a big difference here from that to that. I just like it. It also smooths out a little bit, which I like. Next, I went to Glow, and that's just going to pop the sky just a little bit. And that's, I think, simply because the Inca filter on the Lut Mapping darkened the sky a little bit. and I wanted to bring that back a little bit, so glow is perfect for that. Next up was adjustable gradient, and that super powerful, allows you to shift the light around quite a bit. So for the top, you can see it's divided by top and bottom. So for the top, I added a little contrast and a little warmth, and on the bottom, added a little exposure, so I brightened it and added a little warmth. So I went from that, where it was a bit more blue feeling overall, to that where it was a bit warmer feeling overall. Next up was HSL, and boom, there we go. So not massive. There's hue and luminance, which both were zeroed out. So I just did a little bit of saturation. Red, yellow, and blue. Just gave it a little bit of bump. All I'm doing is tweaking some colors here. And in fact, I actually think I might take the orange down a hair, simply because some of that orange, especially right over here where it says Rondvaart Koe, I don't know. I don't speak Dutch. They probably sell food or drink. I have no idea. Hey, if you speak Dutch, let me know what it says. I'd love to know. And gosh, I'm sure my pronunciation was terrible, so I apologize. Anyway, so that's HSL. Next up was color toning. And this is where I did something that I kind of traditionally do with color toning, which is also known as split toning, where you separate the highlights and shadows, pick a color and a saturation, and stick it on either. For highlights, I picked kind of a peach color, and that's going to be more of the sky and some of the reflection. And the shadows, I went a little bit more in the blue realm. And so it's not a massive difference. There's before and the after. It cooled off the buildings a little bit and the water and stuff. I just kind of liked how it looked. And then I went and added a vignette. And that was simply just kind of tightening that up a little bit. There's, I don't want to say dead space, but when you're 16 by 9, you got more of a, it's not a pano either, but you got a wider photo, right? And I don't know, it was a little bit of dead space. So for me, the vignette sort of tightens that up a little bit. I don't know, maybe I'm rambling. It's just kind of a personal preference. Then I went and added a layer, and here's denoise, and I stuck that across the sky and the water. I can show you my brush, my mask. I went like that, right? So I just painted that in and said, hey, great, I'm happy. And you'll notice, like when you paint in denoise, it'll remove the intensity of these spots, and so kind of helps a little bit, although clearly not enough. I still need to go remove them, which I did, as I showed you. And then my last adjustment layer is I actually went back to details. I've said in the previous videos that I don't use the details slider that much, and that's true. But in this case, I wanted to add a little detail back into these buildings and give them a little bit of oomph. And so all I did is I created a mask on that layer and bumped up the details. How much did I do? I actually used small, medium, and large. And then I just painted that across the buildings themselves. I don't want any detail showing up in my skies or water. Sky and water to me is kind of sacred. I want those to be smooth, unless I'm really going for some kind of moody thing. But I'm generally about like wispy clouds and smooth water. I don't know, it's just something I like. So that's my final photo. So I went from that, where I was kind of like, is this gonna be really worth a dang, to that, which I think is kind of worth a dang. Here's the final edited after Luminar, where I took it in and removed all the spots in the sky. Just wanted to show you that, because I gotta admit, looking at that, especially with that big spot there and the other one kind of in the center, oof, kind of makes me sick. Looks a lot better that way. But anyway, that's it, my friends. That's a workflow, if you will, for Aurora HDR. Kind of a cityscape shot at late afternoon, not quite sunset, but is able to bring up the colors, hide some of the detail where I don't want it by using the denoise filter, and then pop the detail in the buildings where I do want it. And that's my final photo. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If this was helpful, please, I'd love for you to subscribe and hit that little bell so you get notified of new videos, which I'm posting 2 to 3 a week. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think, and hit the like button as well. Give me a thumbs up, give me a like, give me a heart, whatever the hell it's called. You know what I'm talking about. Thanks for watching, my friends. I appreciate it. I hope you're having a great day. I'll see you soon. Take care, and adios.